What's happening, folks? I can tell you what's happening around my neck of the woods. It's hurricane season. And another fact that's totally not related to hurricane season is that there's a lot of new residents that have moved into this area. That seems to be the theme in other parts of the southeastern Atlantic seaboard, Florida, and the Gulf Coast. Most of these people are coming from areas that are not necessarily familiar with tropical systems and weather. So it seems like when they move here, then we have a hurricane off the coast and they freak out and they go put stuff on Facebook like this. Now, when I see those kinds of posts, my initial response is I want to talk trash to them because they got a whole lot to say in the rare occasion that we have snow around here. But I have a YouTube channel, obviously, and I've been through a lot of hurricanes. I have quite a bit of experience, and most of my content on YouTube is DIY projects, and preparing for a hurricane is a DIY project in itself. So I decided to be nice and informative and come up with this. So if you got questions, I plan on answering them. So let's get this little intro out of the way and get right to it. All right, I'm going to take it down to base level. Some people don't know this. Most of you do. I know some of you are going to be saying, duh. If you already know this stuff, just skip ahead a couple minutes. Hurricanes and tropical systems are just really big, mean thunderstorms that come from the ocean. It's actually like a bunch of thunderstorms that kind of get together and they start spinning like they're in a circle pit at a metal concert. Sometimes they stay out to sea. Sometimes they hit land. That's when they're a problem. Hurricanes and tropical systems have four main tools of destruction. You have storm surge, you have wind, you have flooding, and you have tornadoes. Storm surge is when the wind blows across the surface of the water, effectively pushing it up onto the land. Its effects can be felt hundreds of miles from the center of the storm. Wind speed, wind direction, and what stage the tide is in greatly affect how far inland or how far up the storm surge will go. In my opinion, storm surge is the scariest of all the threats of a hurricane. If you live near a body of water that is affected by the tides, then storm surge could be a problem in the event of a hurricane. Wind, obviously everybody knows what wind is. It's air moving really fast. Category 1 hurricane winds start at 75 miles an hour. So if you've ever stuck your arm out of your car running down an interstate, that's kind of what it feels like. That's sustained wind. And then as the categories rise, you get into 2s and 3s and 4s, the wind gets even worse. So someone who's ridden on a motorcycle and done crimes, you probably know what that feels like to have that kind of wind pushing on you. Now just imagine that wind pushing on your house and the rest of your yard and the rest of your property. Tropical systems and hurricanes produce a lot of rain, up to 6 inches per hour. Now the type of flooding I'm talking about is not to be confused with storm surge flooding. It's just purely from the rainfall. And last, but definitely not least, is tornadoes. Anybody from the Midwest knows about tornadoes. Sometimes tropical systems spin up tornadoes. Now the good news is that most of the time they're your smaller EF0s and EF1 tornadoes. I've never really heard of a big one. I'm sure there has been a big one, but usually it's the little guys. That doesn't mean it can't destroy a lot of stuff. And for some reason, it seems like some storms don't put off any tornadoes, and then some storms put off all the tornadoes. Florence. Now let's talk about the Saffir-Simpson scale. That's how hurricanes are rated. I'm going to put up a little picture over here. It's got all the wind speeds. Now, in my opinion, I think that's a little outdated because it's only based off sustained wind speeds. It doesn't take account how much rain goes down. It doesn't take into account how slow or fast the ground speed of the storm, how fast the storm's moving in. It's only based off wind speed. Slow moving storms produce a lot more rain than fast moving storms, regardless of the wind speed, the max wind speed. So your tropical storms and your category 1s and 2s should also be taken seriously. All that means is that the wind's not going to be the main character. Now, obviously, if you get category 3 and up, the wind's going to be the biggest concern. Anything less than that, if it's a slow moving storm, yeah, you're going to have some wind damage. It's not going to be as much wind damage, but your flooding is going to be a big concern. Another thing the Saffir-Simpson scale does not take into consideration is the pure size of the storm. Sometimes storms can be a couple hundred miles wide. Other times they can be 1,100 miles wide. So that means the effects can be felt way far away from the center on those bigger storms. The trail of destruction will be much wider, obviously, with those big storms. How did that song go back in the day? Should I stay or should I go? Bah, bah, bah. Okay, don't cut it off. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Let's talk about evacuations and whether you should or not, or stay. I've had people that just moved here. Anytime we've had a tropical system come through, they ask me this: should I stay or should I go? And I got a few automatic goes. Number one, automatic goes. If you were under a mandatory evacuation, go ahead, tie your stuff down, get yourself straight, and get out of there. Take anything that's important with you, what you can't take with you, put as high as you can in your house, and pray that the weatherman got it wrong and that nothing bad will happen. If you elect to stay, in most cases, if you are under a mandatory evacuation, that means that no services will be available to you during the height of the storm. That is fire, EMS, police, any of that stuff. They shut down too. So that's an automatic go. If you live on an island, you live right on the ocean, go ahead and make way, get out of here. The second automatic go is if you are susceptible to storm surge. I've had to get out of here because I was in a location, not where I'm at now, but when I used to rent a house, I was susceptible to storm surge. A good way to find out if you're susceptible to storm surge is to download the My Elevation app. Put in your address, it'll give you your elevation. Now, if your elevation is like 8 and they're calling for 10-foot storm surge, there's a good chance that your property and your home is going to get wet. Do the same thing. Get out of there. Even if you're not near a tidal zone, another automatic go. If you're in a low-lying area that's susceptible to flash flooding, like I said earlier, tropical systems can put off up to 6 inches an hour. Drainage ditches and storm sewers can get overwhelmed really quick. If you're in a low-lying area, there's a good chance you can get wet. And I'm telling you, I've been there. It's easier to go ahead and get out than to have some people come and rescue you in a boat. It's not fun. Put your stuff as high as you can, like I said. Tighten your stuff up, tie your stuff down, and get out and hope for the best. If you don't have any of those, and you're considering riding the storm out, you have some more questions to ask yourself. Are you prepared? And do you have the necessary provisions to stay? Are you cool with camping in your house? Because when you lose power, that's pretty much what you're doing. Do you have the necessary skill set? Are you healthy? If you're elderly and you can't do a lot of the stuff that you used to could, you might want to consider going ahead and leaving and not have to deal with all this. How well is your home constructed? I have a basic brick rectangle here that's been through a lot of storms. I feel like I'm pretty good. Unfortunately, for a lot of new people that's moved in this area, some of these companies and developers have pushed sand down into low grounds and put these big, nice, beautiful homes that have questionable build quality. So take that into consideration before you decide whether you're going to stay or not. I know some local people everywhere will back me up on that one.
Wow. I remember when this used to be all orange groves.
And then how bad is the storm? How bad is the storm going to be? Are we talking about a Cat 2 or are we talking about a Cat 5? I've been through a lot of storms, but if you're talking about a strong Cat 4 or a Cat 5, I might consider dipping myself. Let's talk about the pros and cons of evacuating. The first pro of leaving is you don't have to play Boy Scout and camp in your house for who knows how long until they get the power back on. The second pro of leaving is you don't have to actively hear your stuff getting damaged. All the creaking and moaning and slamming that comes with the wind when you go through a hurricane. The cons of leaving is that you're not there as stuff goes bad to play immediate damage control. For example, during Hurricane Florence, I lost my chimney cap. I have a wood stove in my living room. As soon as that chimney cap come off, water started pouring down through the pipe. Then the eye of the storm came. The winds died down some. I crawled on the roof and I wrapped a tarp around the chimney cap. So when the second half of the storm came, it would not wet my whole floor and everything in my house. Another con of leaving is that you might not be able to get back, sometimes for a couple weeks. And then the traffic, getting in and out. There's going to be a lot of other people evacuating. Traffic's going to suck getting out of town. Traffic's going to suck getting back into town. There were people displaced for a long time after Florence because we were cut off. All the roads were blowed out from all the rain we got. Another con of leaving is that if you don't have someone to go stay with, you got the extra cost of gas and hotel rooms and things like that. Now, what are the pros and cons of staying? They're about opposite of what I just said about leaving. So you will be here to do immediate damage control. You won't incur the extra cost of fuel and the extra cost of hotel rooms and stuff such as that. The cons are you will be doing some sort of camping in your house. You will hear all the slamming and banging, and you'll hear the rain and everything else. It can get scary sometimes. Now let's talk about provisions and being prepared for a storm. And now as the storm approaches and you're in the cone, as we call it, all the news outlets, they're going to put out a graphic, and it's going to look something like this. It's going to tell you all the stuff you need to survive a storm. Stuff like water, flashlights, flashlight batteries, non-perishable food, first aid kit. You know what's crazy? There's a lot of the stuff that they put up there on the news channels, those graphics, all this stuff that they say you need to be prepared is the exact same stuff that's on the Boy Scouts 10 Essentials list. There's a good reason for that. Because like I said before, you're going to be camping in your house. Now, getting all that stuff is no-brainers. But there's going to be a lot of other things that I'm going to mention right now that you need to go ahead and get now. Like when there's a storm not coming. Like don't wait until they say it's coming in 5 days and try to get it, because you're not going to be able to get it. Number one is that water. As the storm approaches, there's not going to be any bottled water, and there's not going to be any gallons of water. The shelves are going to be bare. So go ahead, if it's hurricane season, and just keep some on hand. The reason why they tell you this is it doesn't matter if you're on well water. Well, if you're on well water and you don't have power, you don't have water. And if you're on city or county water or some kind of municipal source, then a lot of times with all the rain and all the mess floating in the water, they can have what they call it a boil advisory, where you can't drink any of it. That's why they tell you to get water. Go ahead and get some water. Keep water on hand. Another thing that people overlook, but I'm telling you, you want to have a bunch of them on hand, is ratchet straps. Yes, ratchet straps like you tie down your lawnmower on a trailer with. I'm not talking about the ones that's got a little clamp on it. I'm talking about the clickety ones. Those things will be next to impossible to find right before a storm hits. So go ahead, get you a tub, get you a bunch of them, have them on hand. I'll explain more about that later when we do the tie down and weigh down section of this video. Another thing that you're going to have trouble finding is ground anchors. They look like this. These things come in real handy for tying down random things in your yard. Get the longest ones you can. Next thing, tarps. Tarps are going to be hard to find right before the storm hits. You're going to need tarps, because if you lose shingles, you're going to want to get up there as soon as you can and patch that roof up temporarily with a tarp. I would recommend having enough tarps to do at least one side of your house. Go ahead and buy them now. They're cheap. They're at Harbor Freight. They're at Home Depot. Get them, put them up, so you don't have to scramble at the last minute to try to find some and then not be able to find some. Generators. Generators make camping in your house a little less inconvenient. If you think you want a generator, go ahead and buy one now. Like, finish the video and go on Amazon or go to Home Depot and buy one right now. They will not be available right before the storm hits. If you do find one, you'll have to drive a good distance, or you're going to run into them price gouging. I know it's illegal, but it happens every time. If you do run a generator, you're going to need gas cans. You're going to need lots of them. Gas cans magically disappear right before a storm. You're going to want to fill those gas cans up too, because you don't know how long you're going to be without power. You don't know how long the gas station is going to be without power. Window AC units. If you're running a smaller generator, you can't run your central AC. So a window unit comes in really handy. Those things disappear right before a storm hits. So if you think you want one, go ahead and buy one. Actually, buy one in the off season when they're dirt cheap. Just put it up somewhere. Put it in your attic. Put it in your garage. Stash it off to the side. That way you'll know you have it if you need it. Plywood becomes non-existent. It all disappears. And of course, that's for boarding up windows and doors. Now I'm going to go into that a little bit in depth, a little bit further in this video, but that's a good project to go ahead and go buy you some board, some plywood when it's on sale. If you can catch it on sale, or when it's nicer outside, go ahead and get everything cut and get everything ready to go. So if you've got the board up, you can do it quickly and don't have to fight people at the store to not get any wood. If you have any trees in your yard, a chainsaw is a fine piece of equipment to have. If you think you might need a chainsaw, go ahead and buy a chainsaw. Those things dry up quickly when there's a storm approaching, and all the other accessories that go with it, like, your gas can and your premix and all the other stuff that goes with chainsaws, safety equipment, stuff like that. Propane. If you've got a gas grill, you want to make sure you got propane on hand. See, the thing is, your regular electric stove uses up a lot of juice. So a regular little generator like the one I got won't handle it. So you're grilling outside. Remember, you're back to camping. Do a lot of grilling after a storm. Make sure you got your propane. Going back towards generators, drop cords. Drop cords dry up. If you don't have a transfer switch and you're running a small generator, you're going to have to run it off drop cords. Actually, there's another way, but the legality of it is firmly in the gray area. So either you're going to be running drop cords, or you need to have an electrician come in and put a transfer switch in. That's another thing. Go ahead and have that done in the off season. If you come up a week before a storm hits, you're not going to get an electrician to do it because he's doing everybody else's transfer switches. I'm sure I'm missing something, and that's what the comment section's for. So if you've got something that I'm missing, put it in the comment section. Now, it doesn't matter if you're evacuating or if you're staying. A lot of the preparations you do are going to be the same. Make sure you go to the ATM and you get cash out. Even if a store is open and it's on generator power, the communication lines may be down and your ATM card, your debit card might not work. It might be cash only. Seen it happen way too many times. Go ahead and get gas in all of your vehicles. Fill them to the brim because you don't know if the gas pumps are going to work. Also, like I said earlier, you get all your gas cans for your generator, or even if you don't have a generator, fill your gas cans up. You don't know when the next time you can get gas is. After Hurricane Florence, all the roads were blown out and none of the tanker trucks could get in. So all the gas stations around here, whether they had power or not, didn't have any gas. None. All grades gone. If you're staying, fill your bathtubs up with water. Every bathtub you got, fill them to the brim. If your water system goes down, whether you're on a well or municipal source, it doesn't matter. Municipal sources can go down too. You can put a 5-gallon bucket in there and you can still flush your toilet if you need to. You just dip the bucket in there, get you some water. After you do your business, pour it in the toilet and it'll flush. I've done that more times than I want to talk about, really. Got another little trick for you. If you're leaving, if you're evacuating, how do you know if your power went out and how long was it out while you were gone? What condition is the food that you left in your refrigerator? I got a solution for you. See this cup, it's just a regular old cup. It's filled to the brim with water that's been put in the freezer. That's solid ice. This is what you do. You put this in your freezer, you take a washer or a quarter or something and lay it right on top. Now when you get home, you open your freezer up and you see that washer or that quarter sitting on top of that ice still. That means you didn't lose power long enough for the food inside that refrigerator to go bad. But if you open it up and that washer's down in that ice or at the bottom, that means that everything in there thawed and that you're going to have to throw it out. Probably not safe to eat. All right, on to the next segment. I'm going to walk through my backyard and I'm going to show you things that can turn into debris. I'm going to show you how to weigh down, tie down, or put away. The goal here is to minimize debris because some things you don't want to blow away that you want. There's other things that you don't want to blow away and hit something else that you do care about. Now, I didn't clean up my backyard. I got kids' toys everywhere. So this should be accurate of what, if you got kids, you know what I mean. They throw stuff everywhere. Looks just like this right here. So I got all the kids' toys out here. You're going to want to get all this stuff up. This is all potential debris. Those tables, if it's a smaller storm, I will flip them over on the yard and put something heavy on them. If it's a big storm, I'll put them in the garage. I got that table and that table. Now this thing right here, if you do not deal with it, these trampolines will cause the most damage because it doesn't take much wind to get them going and and they're big and they can go a long ways and tear up a bunch of stuff. So if it's a small little tropical storm, if I'm expecting tropical storm force winds, I may just tie it down. I may take the top off of it, flip it upside down and put some weight on it. But if we're going to have anything significant, I'm going to take it, I'm going to tear it all the way down, stow it in the garage or the shed. My grill is heavy enough that I may just stick it against the side of the house if it's a smaller storm. But if it's anything significant, it goes in the garage. Kids swing set. It doesn't take a lot of wind to get it going either. This is where the ground anchors and the ratchet straps come in really handy. You want to get it the longest anchors you can. You want to strap it down as much as you can. That thing can make a big mess if it flips over that fence. It could go right through the neighbor's yard and smack their house. It could come right towards my house, knock stuff down. You want to secure that. Now backing up here, you see I've got one of these cheap plastic sheds, but I made some modifications. Everyone who had one of these sheds, besides me, lost it in Florence. They just flew apart. Modification number one is on a wood base that is screwed to the ground. Obviously, I need to get my pressure washer out here. It's kind of gross. And if you see, I also got these eye bolts that I stuck in there. And what those are for, there's eye bolts on the other side. And I can take a ratchet strap and I can tie it all the way across. 3 of them, all the way across. It'll kind of hold everything together. Now we're looking on the inside of my shed. You see these boards I made up here, or I didn't make the boards. I installed them. So if you look, I made shelves all the way around, and they're all tied to the structures, the metal pieces inside this plastic shed. So it kind of works like not only are there shelves, but it's a roll cage. So it makes this whole structure more sound and it can take some more wind. Here's a fun fact. There's my window unit for hurricane purposes. Also, I have my wood for my windows, and I'll talk about that stuff in a minute, my wood and my window coverings. Now, all the stuff I'm mentioning, you definitely, I don't care if you're going to evacuate or not. This is all stuff you want to do. If you're going to leave, do it before you leave. Now, you're over here in my little work area. This is where I do a lot of my regular videos. This is pretty much an open automotive shop out here. If you see over here, I got a ladder. That would need to go inside. I got more ladders that would need to go inside. 5-gallon buckets, they need to go somewhere. This is all the light stuff that can take off. This toolbox has got plenty of stuff in it. It's weighed down, so I'm not worried about it. That motor lift, there's nothing, it's not going anywhere. It's weighed down. That truck back there, I know it may not look like a lot, but I'd rather it not get smashed by trees. So if we have a hurricane coming, I'd move all this stuff out of the way. There's big trees back there in my neighbor's yard. If they come this way, that thing's going to be smashed like a beer can. So I can take it and take my other pickup and drag it all the way over here to the fence and get it out of range of these big oak trees that might turn over. If you've got a fence like this, they are very susceptible to high winds. It don't take a lot of wind to screw them up, but the weak link in these fences are the gates. You see I got a gate here. There's a gate on the other side of the yard too. What I always do is I go get me some 2x4s, and I don't have any handy. I could go get one, but you'll get the point. I take and put one right across here, and I take one and put right along here. Sometimes I'll do 3 if I've got space for it. And all you're trying to do, and you screw them right to the back here. All you're trying to do is make this gate one continuous piece, like it's a piece of fence. Now, if the winds get too high, you're going to lose your fence anyway, but it always helps to try to save what you can. And I've had great success by just putting some wood on these gates so they don't fail. Do you have a pool? I have a pool. Look at it. It's a poverty pool. If you do have a pool, the one thing I want you to know is you're getting ready to have a bunch of rain. So you're going to want to drop that level. I don't care if it's one of the poverty pools or if you've got a nice in-ground pool. You want to go ahead and drop that level down some so it doesn't overflow and cause any damages. Earlier in this video, I was talking about plywood and window coverings somewhat. We'll go a little more in depth with this now. This is something you're going to want to do in the off season. You don't want to be scrambling trying to do this right before a storm hits. Number one, like I said, trying to find plywood is difficult. If you're going to use plywood, you don't necessarily have to use that. But then trying to cut it and everything else, it's not what you want to do. You kind of want to have this stuff set up, ready to go out the gate. With window coverings, all you're trying to do is just keep this thing covered to protect you from the debris that somebody else didn't tie down, right? So if a piece of debris smacks this window, it's going to shatter it, and you're going to have rain and wind coming into your home. That sucks. I know a guy in one of the hurricanes that came through who didn't put any window coverings on. Can't remember which hurricane it was, but the neighbor's like picnic table got flipped through his big bay window in the front of his house. And so it ruined his living room. Because you think the debris is traveling at the same direction as the wind. So then as soon as it blew that window out, then everything, wind and rain, just soaked his whole entire living room. You want to try to avoid that, especially if you're inside. Now, wood's a good thing. Good, like at least 1/2-inch plywood is great. But what I use is this V-crimp 10. And I've already got it cut and I've already got holes drilled. And pretty much all I do is I stick it down in here like this. And then I got another piece and I take these V's right here and I overlap them and I just screw it on my window. I wonder if this thing will stay without screws. Oh, there you go. You get the idea. So a piece of debris might pierce this, but it's not going to blow the whole thing out. And that's the point. One little hole in it's not going to be the end of the world, but a whole window being shattered is. Another cool thing about V-crimp 10 is it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Like all of my window coverings, it's only like that thick and about that big. I also use the V-crimp 10 here on my sliding glass. I just shut this whole piece off and we just don't use that door if a big storm is coming. Because you really don't want something to slam that. That's a big piece of glass. That can make a mess real quick. Something else I want to bring up that I've seen a lot of people make this mistake is if you have open end eaves like this one. I don't anymore. I used to. See if my camera will play nice. You see this, my neighbor's home? Mine used to look just like that. It's just open vent on the end. But I had mine closed up and I've got that fan. So all I got to do is shut the power off to that fan up there and those little doors shut and I'm good. If you don't have the setup like I have, you have this set up, you need to find a way to cover that. If you don't find a way to cover that, if you have winds coming in at a right direction with the rain behind it, it can wet the entire ceiling in your house and it'll fall. I've seen it happen too many times. Another thing that blows away in heavy winds are these guys right here, trash can. Now, I used to have a big tree that was right here. I haven't had a storm since this tree's been gone. But I used to take my trash can and my neighbors would take their trash can and tie it around this tree and take one big ratchet strap and go around it. So I guess I'm going to either have to find me another tree like that one in my front yard over there and tie everybody's trash can around it, or I'll have to tie it to this truck or something like that. Just something to keep it from blowing away and blowing trash everywhere. One other thing I forgot to mention is this canopy right here. I used to take it off every storm and it's a pain in the butt. So now what I do is I just slide it all the way back, roll it up, and I take a ratchet strap and I tie it like this. And it cinches down. I don't have to worry about it turning into a massive sail and damaging this pergola. The pergola itself doesn't have any surface area for wind to grab and it's screwed to the concrete down here. So it's good to go. Well, I think you get the point. Anything you think can fly away will fly away, and it can cause damage to your property and somebody else's. So you want to get all that secured. Let's go on to the next part of this video where I'm going to show you how to estimate where the hardest winds are going to come out of, the fastest, strongest winds, what direction they will come out of, and how you can use that to your advantage to set your property up for minimal damage. All right, this is going to have to do because I can't really do animations. So here's my whiteboard. Here's a very poorly drawn map of the southeastern North Carolina coast. We got Wilmington right there. You know, like Myrtle Beach will be like over here. Jacksonville will be like somewhere over here. You see my little hurricane I drew down here. You see the winds always spin counterclockwise. And I have my tape. It has arrows on it. This is Teflon tape, but it'll do. So knowing how a hurricane works, you can predict where the strongest winds are going to be coming from. For example, we'll do Hurricane Florence first. When Florence came through, it came in straight out from the Atlantic like this. And as it went away, or as it went across us, it started out with the winds coming out of the northwest in this direction. And then it changed over to north. And then as it slid by, they started coming out of the south. But at this point, it had kind of lost a lot of its pookie. They always lose strength as the center starts encountering land. But let's just say we had one that came from Myrtle Beach and it came by like this. Well, in that case, my winds will be going out of the southwest, coming this way, And it wouldn't be as bad a wind because I'm not near the center. The center, right around the center, always has the strongest winds. I want to say it was Irene in 2011, which hit way up here. Well, it came by and kind of did this number, so we didn't get the strongest winds, but all of the winds come out of the north on that one. You don't have to draw a map. You don't have to be a meteorologist, but when they start posting the maps and you see this thing getting closer, you can gauge where the strongest winds are going to be coming out of. That's my only point. All right, here's a very poorly drawn of the top of a regular old rectangle house like mine. And a driveway. Isn't that cool? Anyway, so let's just say that the way that storm's laying up, that the strongest winds are going to be coming out of the east. You got a bunch of trees down here. Like this. These are tree trunks. What that means is that if you have bedrooms on this end of the house, or if you have a living room, you probably shouldn't be chilling in this end of the house when the strongest winds are coming, because it's going to blow them trees. It could blow those trees right on top of your house. Every year, every time we have a hurricane, at least one person seems like they get crushed in their home by a tree. That could be easily avoidable. You know, go hang out at this end of the house. Also, if you had this kind of setup and you had cars in your driveway, don't park them in your driveway. Maybe you want to drive them on your lawn and hide them down here as a windbreak. You can use your home as a windbreak. Or go park them at your neighbor's house. I mean, likewise, this same scenario, if the winds are coming out of the west because of the way it lined up, the strongest winds, then you're probably going to be okay. You might not have to worry about these trees because they're going to get blown that way, away from your home. But you wouldn't want to park your cars over here. It's very basic, but if you know the cardinal directions and how your house is turned in comparison to them, and you can guesstimate it, it'll really take your yard setup game to the next level. And it can actually save your life. Like I said, about staying on one end of the house or the other end when the storm's coming through. Well, this is going to wrap it up, folks. We're at the part of the video where I ask you, if you made it this far, you're kind of obligated. You got to hit the like button. I'm not going to ask you in the beginning like some of them other people that do YouTube videos do. If you made it this far, I interest you in some way, go ahead and hit the button for me. I hope someone found this informative. If it wasn't but one little tip that I could give out that helps somebody out, I'm happy. I hope you're happy. And as far as you new people who's coming to town that I mainly made this video for, I hope it relieves some anxiety, because anxiety comes from what you don't know. And hopefully I give you enough tips and enough advice that it can alleviate some of that anxiety. I mean, that's it. This was just a big info dump. I pretty much put everything I know and everything I do before a storm in this video. If you want to check out the rest of my channel of the other DIY stuff I do, such as lawn stuff, right now I'm working, it ain't sitting here anymore, it's sitting outside, but right now I'm working on these trucks. If any of that interests you, go check out the rest of my channel. Watch all the way to the end. In my end screen, I'm going to put up some footage that I got from the eye wall of Hurricane Florence that I forgot I had, but it's pretty cool. Like I always say, thanks for stopping by. Come back and see me.